Good morning, everyone. Ohayo gozaimasu. Welcome to our Socho-Ki, the Bishop's Memorial Service for 2021. It's nice to have everyone here and there joining us for this special service. The Bishop's Memorial, the Socho-Ki, we gather. It is a memorial service to express our gratitude to the contributions made by the bishops of the Buddhist Churches of America. So it is a very special service to acknowledge all they have done to promote the Dharma here in America. I'd like to introduce you to our chairpersons for today. Serving as our chairpersons for today are the Bird Buddies. You might recall that they have chaired our service before, and initially they were just out sitting on the wires in the temple yard and watching and observing, and kind of came to appreciate what all the activities that were going on at the temple on occasions, and people seemed to be so harmonious and nice and kind to each other, and working together and laughing and enjoying things around here. And it's just a very compassionate feeling in the air that they were able to pick up on. And through that, they had come in the doors and first just watching, but came to ask me more about the temple and if they could come in regularly. And so they began their interest in the Buddhist teachings and the Nembutsu teachings in particular. So gradually they came to participate in our services by helping out, being chairpersons. So they flew into town recently, and we were talking again, asking what's up at the temple. So I told them we have this very important Bishop's Memorial, the Socho-Ki, that was coming up, and told them a little bit about this special service. And I asked them if they would like to chair this particular service. And they said, "Whoa, that sounds kind of important. Is it okay? We're just new here." I said, "Oh, that'd be great. You know, it's a nice way for you to learn about the Bishop's Memorial and more about the general traditions of what we have to offer here at our temples." And so initially a little bit hesitant, but always willing to help, to contribute and to pull their share of the work here at the temple. So I convinced them to serve as our chairpersons today. As you can see, they have their masks on, reminding us to continue to be cautious for ourselves and for others. And you might not be able to notice the onenju on their wings hidden in their feathers, but they do have them, and they are ready for service. I'd like to go over our service order for today. We will begin with the reading of the three treasures, and this will be followed by the Raisanmon, the three treasures in Japanese. Then I'll take my seat up on the Onaijin, the altar area, and we will chant the Sanbujo and the Sanbutsuge. So you can prepare to have these ready, however you have set up to do with your own chanting books at home, okay? Sanbujo, Sanbutsuge. This will be followed by Nembutsu and Ekoku to complete the chanting portion of the service, and then we will have a Dharma message. I'll return for the Dharma message. So with that, we will begin. Please join me in the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Raisanmon. Ninjin ukekatashi imasude ni uku. Buppo kikikatashi imasude ni kiku. Kono mikonjo ni mukatte dosezumba. Sarani izure no sho ni mukatte kako no mi o dosen. Daishu modo tomo ni shishin ni sambo ni kieshi tatematsuru beshi. Mizukara butsu ni kieshi tatematsuru. Masani negawaku wa shijo tomo ni. Daido o taige shite mujoi o okosan. Mizukara ho ni kieshi tatematsuru. Masani negawaku wa shijo tomo ni. Fukaku kyozo ni irite chie umi no gotoku naran. Mizukara so ni kieshi tatematsuru. Masani negawaku wa shujo tomo ni. Daishu o tori shite issai muge naran. Mujo jinjin mimyo no Howa. 100,000 man go ni mo ai o koto katashi. 我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくば如来の真実義を消し立て祭らん。南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀、南無阿弥陀、南無阿弥陀。三部上、Sanbutsuge。 一願魔に修行縁女開心論兵有脈樹木如来予言調整無輪小学大音コール実法開門精進三昧智慧意徳無量修正慶右人体前年小雲法界愚人人の空語外体無明欲ぬ世尊用無人の死死人徳無量空君広大知恵人妙光明一層神道大仙願が差分在所法華道精進未不下段不正上位解任精進行税三昧知恵以上合成特分不行志願一切空空一切大安慶死有分百千億万無量大小修行五弱用一切死と処分不尿愚道検証不逆非尿が五者処分世界無不影無修仙道光明師匠遠視小国尿税精進偉人難量量が差分国道第一号周期妙道場超絶国尿内音二無闘争がと愛民道断一切実法来所新年少女意図が国家楽安の公文神妙税が新書春願の非力少々欲実法生存知恵無下上量子孫知が信行軽量心死食毒中家業精進忍辱不敬 Namando, 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 namando. Namando, 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 namando. Namando, 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 namando. Namando. Good morning again, everyone. Welcome again to this important Socho-Ki, Bishop's Memorial Service, where we are able to express our gratitude to the contributions made by the bishops of the Buddhist Churches of America. I would like to begin by reading a quote from Bishop Tsuji. This is out of his book, The Heart of the Buddha Dharma. You might recognize this. A lot of us have this small book. And towards the end of the book, there's this quote. Please listen. My life is fleeting and finite, and I do not know with certitude what tomorrow has in store for me. But in the transitory boundaries of my existence is the timeless flow of Amida's life. In the finite sound of my Nembutsu is Amida's voice of compassion, tirelessly calling me. Like a small stream that enters the mighty current of the great river, so does my insignificant life in the Nembutsu join the majestic flow of Amida's infinite life. Namo Amida Butsu. So this quote is again reminding us of the Nembutsu path that we walk together in our Buddhist temples, Buddhist Churches of America, temples here and at all our temples. So as we come to recognize and appreciate the recitation practice of Nembutsu, then we are able to recognize and acknowledge the life that swirls around us that we call Amida. So when I look in preparation for this service, I was looking back at the names of the bishops that have served the Buddhist Churches of America, and felt it was appropriate to start with Bishop Tsuji and his quote. And personally, he's the bishop that I knew very well growing up. My father was serving at the headquarters at Buddhist Churches of America. Bishop Tsuji had a residence in San Mateo. Reverend Masuyama had a home in San Leandro. So Masuyamas, Fujimotos, and the Tsujis, the three families would get together during the holidays. And so we would spend Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's visiting each other. And through that, we got to know each other's families very well. All the families have children of similar age, so we get to hang around together, go to the movies or bowling alley or things like this before the big meal for the holiday. So really enjoyed that, and yeah, just felt close to all the family members of the three ministers' families, and we still talk about that when we get together. So those were very special times. Before that, prior to Bishop Tsuji, was Reverend Hanayama. Shinsho Hanayama was the bishop, and I recall being very young, and my father brought me there to the bishop's office to meet him. This is Reverend Hanayama Sensei. He's the bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America, and I was very young, and I didn't really know what that meant, but I just felt that he was a very important person. So shaking his hand and remembering that, just remembering his calm presence that he had carried himself while he was working at the headquarters there. And before Hanayama Sensei, there was a Enryo Shigefuji. So he was serving as the bishop when my father first started his career. So when my father came back from Japan, studying Japan, to America, and I was just 1 year old, Shigefuji Sensei was the one who was leading and coordinating a lot of the things and the placements of the ministers that they came to become assigned to the different temples here in the Buddhist Churches of America. So other than that, I don't really have an image of the bishops to recall. So before Shigefuji sensei was a Matsukage sensei, Ryotai Matsukage, and I recognized his books from reading about the days, and it was something new when going to college and learning about our Japanese American families being placed into concentration camps, relocation centers, they called them. And this was during his tenure, so he had very important decisions to make, and he was in an influential position during those times. And so I recall seeing his names in various books about those times that the Japanese American community had to endure, and the Buddhist Sanghas kind of grew together and rallied under his leadership in camp, and then continuing once the camps were disbanded. So his name also becomes significant. And along those lines, the very first bishop, Sonoda sensei, I would recognize his name when Buddhism was first came to America, and the Sangha members had requested from Honganji to send leaders so that temples can be established here in America. And we would recognize the first pictures. They looked like from so long ago in black and white newspaper print, and Sonoda sensei would be one of those that you would see as one of the first ministers to come upon the soil of the United States, being sent from Honganji to begin the journey of the Buddhist Churches of America. So when we look upon those, I can have recollection of these, but just like looking back upon our own families, maybe 3-4 generations, we know the names and the faces of parents and grandparents, great-grandparents, but beyond that, it really becomes kind of a blur of names and faces that we don't really recognize. But as we reflect upon their efforts, we can think about all the ministers, all the members, temple members, family members who worked with these bishops, these leaders, in bringing the Dharma forward to touch our lives today. And what a journey it has been. Oftentimes, I'm able to talk to fellow Buddhists when I'm meeting family members before a service or something like this, and they might identify with where they grew up. Their family temple was where, and they grew up with this temple, and my brother got married there, I got married there, and with certain ministers who were there during their younger days, and they still identify with their temple and their ministers. And often you hear the case after they go to college, they don't connect to the temple that is closest to them or where they go to work. They still identify with the temples of their family. And so maybe they go back home to visit the family and go back to the bazaars and the obons of the temples that they knew and grew up with. Maybe also reconnecting with friends from that area and feeling that sense of connection that the temples were able to provide. So now, whether we have come to our Jodo Shinshu temples through family connections, family karma, or whether through marriage, or just coming by happenstance to come into becoming Jodo Shinshu members, we still we share this shared story of temple connections, no matter how we connected initially. And so through this, we're able to share our stories and our appreciation and our recollections of the things we've done together, activities and events and meetings and services and so many things that we are able to enjoy at our temples today. So through these, we're able to recognize and appreciate when we follow these connections. They are drawing us again, not to specific people, but to this infinite past. So many, from the bishops to all the ministers that they worked with, to all the family members that are connected or not connected to our own families, and so many people, thousands and thousands of people that we are able to kind of glimpse as we gaze into this infinite view. And today, leading us to that view is reflecting upon the bishops who have served the Buddhist Churches of America. So with those thoughts, I would like to read this quote once again from Bishop Tsuji to close this service. My life is fleeting and finite, and I do not know with certitude what tomorrow has in store for me. But in the transitory boundaries of my existence is the timeless flow of Amida's life. In the finite sound of my Nembutsu is Amida's voice of compassion, tirelessly calling me. Like a small stream that enters the mighty current of the great river, so does my insignificant life in the Nembutsu join the majestic flow of Amida's infinite life. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. So thank you for joining us for this Bishop's Memorial Socho-Ki service that we were able to enjoy together. I'd like to thank everyone for your attendance. I'd like to thank everyone who assisted with the service, from the flowers to the fruits, setting up the onaijin, the obukban, and the video crew, setting up the cameras and lights and doing all the editing and uploading and distribution and all that is involved in providing these video services for everyone who is out there able to enjoy and join us in this manner. So thank you to everyone who has been involved. Thank you to the bird buddies who were service chairpersons today. And now I would like to set up for Oshoko, and please do so at your homes as you have provided set up to do incense or flowers or rocks or marbles, okay? So with that, we will conclude this service. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda.